all these things become easier when you lay them out and put them on paper. You can actually prioritize, you can mitigate fears, you can really develop a strategy that works for you, and it's all inside. What we have here is the high performance life, and it's broken up into a couple of different categories. L is love. I, impact. E is energy. And this is not going to be perfect. It's going to be a setup so you understand. And F is faith. Now, most importantly, I'll start to define inside the boxes the most important thing. So when we talk about this, I break my life up into these 4 quadrants, these 4 parts. These 4 parts are how every single time I'm evaluating the most important things in life, I'm building. Why does love matter? Because it's your who. Your impact is your what. Your faith is your why. And your energy is your how. Who are the most important people in your life? Who are your relationships? What am I doing every day? What is my impact? What is my daily job? This is my wealth quadrant. This is how I make a living, but it's really what I'm doing to do so. This is a key quadrant when it comes to work, but it's the quadrant we often get lost in the high performance life. So a lot of times we're dedicating all of our time to the what, and we're limiting the who's that we care about. The who's that are getting all the attention aren't the what that we're applying all of our energy to. This would be where people are losing things, where we're losing our space. So impact I define in a couple of different ways. This is not only the what, it's also, your wealth quadrant. This is your giving. Like, how are you giving of yourself to the world? How are you actually putting something out there that makes that impact? And, for a lot of people, this is where they self-evaluate whether or not their career is heading in the right space. This is where I often talk about the habit of daily impact. And this is just getting in the habit of focusing on the everyday little things. When we get into the who, we get into the relationships. If I were to do an inventory in my life, who are the most important people in my life? Who are the people that I want to actually surround myself with? I define this in a couple of different ways. When I'm inventorying and I'm actually evaluating this, I would say who I was, who I am, and who I want to be. Why is that important? Because I believe that it's really important when defining the who's. You have to always know where you came from. Your family, your inner circle, the people that were there from the beginning, they may still be there, but it may not be the circle that you want to be around in the future. I don't mean that I want to get rid of my siblings because they don't think like me, but if I want to be at a certain level, if I want to actually continue to grow as a human, in business, in faith, in whatever, I will surround myself with the who's that both help me get where I want to get and also challenge me to be better. So this is kind of who I was yesterday, who I am today, and who I want to be in the future or tomorrow. And that's a really important factor when it comes to who's. We talked about impact already. What you do is important. Let's talk about faith. Faith is really spirituality in general, right? So this is your spirit. This is something bigger than yourself. I'm okay with saying faith because to me, faith is God. To anybody else, it could be whatever they want it to be. But life is often empty and imbalanced when something doesn't exist bigger than yourself. Really, really important to understand that most flagship things, most foundational things start with both the why and the how. And so when you look at the foundational level, spirituality and faith is mandatory. I also I put in here, I put in eternity, I put in nature, I put in just the surroundings. This is my grounding. This is where I become grounded. And you understand this because I know you understand this. And this is something that it can mean different things for different people. But for me, it's my faith that God exists and life is better when something bigger than me exists and I'm working towards a goal of actually making a difference in the world for a reason. Not just for myself and my ego. That has nothing to do with it. It has to be with something bigger than me. Last is energy. This is really the health quadrant. And these are on the bottom for a very important reason. I believe these are foundational, like I just mentioned. I believe that when you have the right why and you're serving something bigger than yourself, on top of that, you also have to be the best version of yourself. You have to have a clear head, mental, physical, emotional. These are all areas of energy. This is your health. This is your body. This is what you give to the world every single day is fine if you're focused on impact, but without a healthy mind, a healthy spirit, a healthy body, all those things, good energy, you're giving a worse version of yourself every single day. So if I can be the best version of myself, the how becomes something I can help to control. The why helps drive me. And then it allows the what and the who I'm surrounding with to close the gaps. This is really all about foundation. This is all about priorities. And so this is my life, high performance life breakdown. It's love, it's impact, it's faith, it's energy. These are the things that I set up in a way that allow me to really focus on the future. Now, how do I actually implement this when times get tough? I'm going to shift over here and just talk just a brief moment about what I do. Anytime I'm severely overwhelmed, energy is maybe moving in the wrong direction. I can feel the pull. So in life, many times you get pulled in one direction over another. We've all been there. Maybe that we're dedicating a ton of time to our health, and because we're focused on our health, we're actually not able to have the time to be with the people that we love and the people that we want to be more around. Maybe our career is taking off and you're so busy that every day something new is coming in and every day you're late going home. I have 2 kids. I have a wonderful wife. I love my family. Many times I find myself leaning in one direction. Now, I don't believe that life is always this perfect balance. What I believe is the high performance life is about self-awareness, accountability, actually understanding when you're leaning in one direction too far and being able to self-correct, adjust course, be accountable to yourself, and know that it's always going to be something you lean heavy into one direction or another. I could say right now, I feel really dialed in energy. I feel really dialed in my faith. What I do, I always am recalibrating and making sure that we're in the right spot. As in a transitional space, I would say I need work right here, just right now in this moment. And the who's, I'm getting ready to go to my brother's wedding this weekend, and so I feel like we're going to have the greatest family time. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if I were to go in and actually do this tool, here's what I would do. I would write an L, I would write an I would do the F, and I would do the E for energy. I would actually rip out a big piece of paper. This is not the biggest one, but these are these calendars that you have. And I have the huge calendars with the really, really big pages. And I start 4 big columns and I brain dump. I believe that the way to actually figure out and hold yourself accountable is the brain dump. Now, why is this important? This is extremely important because when you start to feel a little bit of anxiety, when someone feels overwhelmed, most people, it becomes an emotional response. They're reacting, they're not responding. The first thing I choose to do is pause, breathe, separate. And once you're able to separate and actually work through this tool, I use this all the time. So the easiest way to tell you how I use it is I do it every year. Every year I do an inventory of where my love is going. Who is the most important people? Who are the most important people in my life? Are they getting the attention they deserve? Who are the people that I've met or that I've actually been around that aren't getting the most attention that should? Who are the people I'd like to learn the most from? I evaluate and I actually draw out all those people in this column, and I brain dump anything that's on my mind. Anybody in my life that's not getting something that they deserve. I'll give you an example. My son, who's 16, has asked me to golf with him for 3 weeks straight, and I haven't been able to do it. It sounds pathetic. It's wearing on me. It's something that's super small, but I need to make the time to be able to do that. So I would write golf with Carson on this. I would say date night with my wife. I would say in any of the relationships, I have some friends that I haven't been able to connect with. Maybe it's just about staying connected, and I would write their individual names down. I would inventory anything that's on my brain. The oh shit, I got out of the shower moments. The I'm driving to work and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to call that person. Anything on my brain that revolves around the people I love, the relationships in my life, the who's, that's what I'm debriefing on. Over here in the impact, this is anything that has to do with work, with wealth, with what I do as an impact. Currently, I'm working on my wine festival, so I would actually have an entire layout of the things that are on my brain that I don't want to forget. I would actually go through and lay out 100% of the things that are weighing me down every day, and I get it on paper. By doing that, I'm able to then coat through what are the most important items. For faith, I would say these are the things I'm practicing. A lot of times, the bottom area are practices, daily practices. Am I praying on a regular basis? Am I reading my scripture? Am I staying grounded? Am I actually getting my feet to the ground on a regular basis? What am I doing to make sure that I'm remembering something bigger than myself? Because these are all connected. My relationships are better when I believe and I'm actually focused on something other than myself. My impact to the world is better. Everything is clearer. I would actually write out, what am I trying to do more of? I like to go to church sometimes in the morning. I can't do it every week, but I would write it on there. Energy, this one's super easy for me. And I say super easy because it's always easy to see what you'd rather be doing, how much better shape you'd rather be in, what you'd rather be eating. So I would inventory nutrition, meditation, yoga, all the things that I would write down. I'll give you an example. In meditation, for example, I wrote it down for probably 3 or 4 years and was never really doing it like I wanted to. And all of a sudden, 3 or 4 years ago, I started doing it every single day. 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes became 10 minutes. 10 minutes became longer periods of time. Today, it's a much, much deeper process. All of this is a part of my self-inventory to evaluate where I am off, where I'm off kilter, where I feel imbalanced. And it's about reshuffling the deck to then identify what are the most important things on this list, and that's prioritization. The next step is I start to go on and I simply circle in each column the 1 or 2 items that are the most important in each column. Then I prioritize the columns. Where am I off? Where am I on? Where can I get better? What do I want to work on right now? And I start to lay out an action plan. From here, I take action. All of this is focused on getting more done, being more to the people I love, being able to run a successful entity, hopefully doing so and not crushing the things that I love the most in life, including my own body, my own faith, my own love, all of the impact I'm trying to make in the world. All of this is interconnected. And so I hope this helps you better understand the start, and I'm open to listening and understanding what you think and how we might be able to get this out. I feel like this is a much deep, I just quickly went through this, but I've walked people through this path at their darkest moments. People that are struggling in things from the loss of a loved one to just overwhelm, complete anxiety, high school kids going to school and being super anxious about what's going to happen, sports and athletes, all these things become easier when you lay them out and put them on paper. You can actually prioritize, you can mitigate fears, you can really develop a strategy that works for you, and it's all inside. This is the kind of thing that I think helps people, and that's my number one objective. My objective here is to create a process, to create a system, to actually get this out to the world and help people really work with the things that are holding them back, and also to remember that the high performance life is always going to be imbalanced. How can we help people be accountable? How can we coach people to be successful, even in the most stressful times?